Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Nick Reviews, and today we are doing Aquaman. So let's get right into it. So Aquaman is starring Jason Momoa, and it takes place in a modern society, and it's basically another superhero origin story where we have a kid who loses a parent or somebody important in their life, and through losing this person, they kind of lose a part of themselves. And to be a true superhero, you kind of have to know yourself to eventually get to your true full potential of power. And if you don't know yourself and you don't know what you want to do, then you can't really get to that true potential of power. So this is where we begin with the Aquaman franchise, and the movie begins with Aquaman losing his mom, who is an Atlantean, and his dad's just a regular human anyway. And the beginning of the movie, they explain how they meet, but I won't get into that just based on spoilers. But so yeah, he loses his mom, and he kind of loses that part of Atlantean in him that he then does not really identify with, and he kind of doesn't even go to Atlantis, and he just lives his life on the land, and he goes in the ocean to help out people when he can, but he doesn't identify as a person from Atlantis. Rather, he identifies as a regular human, even though people who are on the land do not even really identify with him because he's just beyond them. They see him as like a water boy, or Aquaman as he is referred to. So this is where it brings in the whole contrast between Atlantis and all the ocean people to the land people, and how this also involves Aquaman. And the main villain in this is Black Manta, but also this movie has two villains in it. It's Black Manta and Aquaman's stepbrother, who's kind of the villain in it, who during the beginning of the movie he would be considered the current kind of king of Atlantis. And from there we kind of see that it's based on Atlantis is kind of had enough of the land people, the regular humans, and they've had enough of all this pollution, which is kind of what I liked about the movie, where I got into the whole environmental aspect of it, which is kind of which is true that we are polluting our ocean, and it's now in the movie they've had enough of this, and they're starting to push back. And this is when Aquaman has to get involved, and either he has to choose a side between siding with the Atlanteans, or he has to side with the people with his dad, who's also a regular human. So this is where we kind of get into the whole aspect of where Aquaman has to find his true self, where he has to find the part of him that is Atlantean, and through this you kind of see where he has to find his iconic weapon that he wields, which is the golden trident. And once he does that, he basically he finds that Atlantean in him, and he can then you can see his true potential of power. So Black Manta fits into it because during the beginning of the movie he kind of has a run-in with them, and he lets Black Manta's dad die. That's spoiler, sorry, but it happens. And then from there, Black Manta has a dying rage to avenge his father and, kill Aquaman. Now, this movie was good, but one of the things that I didn't like about it was the fact that they made Aquaman way too overpowered. He was almost like a Superman of the water. He was just super strong, and things that normally would happen to Aquaman, let's say in the comic version, they would have that wouldn't have happened in the movie, because the way the movie portrayed him was just way too overpowered. The comic book version of Aquaman, he can control all creatures within the ocean, and he's that's pretty much it. He can just control the creatures of the ocean and shift the water and just use the water to his mobility and to his advantage. But the way the movie made him seem was like he was almost like a Hercules in the water, where he was pretty much bulletproof. He gets shot with like a grenade in his chest, and it just, you know, kind of does it like knocks him back a bit, but it doesn't do any actual damage to him. You know, you can see like he's got burn marks, but then it's just like black, like charcoal stuff. It's not even like him actually getting burnt. And this kind of plays a part later on to the point where, you know, Black Manta, who's the main villain, has to develop weapons to actually fight him, and it just gets ridiculous to the point where he develops a plasma gun to take out Aquaman. When Aquaman in the comics, he has above average human strength, but he doesn't have superhuman strength. It's just, it got ridiculous where even the plasma gun that, you know, he gets shot with, he gets like a few cuts. It doesn't even go through to take out a limb or anything. It just gives him a few cuts, and 5 minutes later he's all healed up. And I didn't really like that aspect, because he doesn't have Wolverine's super regen, or he doesn't have super strength like Superman. But they just added that into him to make him, I guess, more of an appealing superhero. Not to make him super weak and that people wouldn't really care, but I felt like if they didn't cater to what the average person wanted in a superhero movie, and rather what the true fans wanted, it probably would have paid off better for them, and it would have made it more interesting, rather than just having villains have to develop insane weapons that, you know, that should just cut through them, but they still don't do anything. This will probably play at a disadvantage later on in the series, because then we have to see what Black Manta can develop that can actually do damage to Aquaman. So, you know, I'm going to have to give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It was a good movie. Wasn't perfect, obviously. It had its ups and downs, but it was a really good movie. It wasn't as good as the Wonder Woman movie, but it was just under that. And I'm going to have to give this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend it, and let me know what you think. So, have a good one.